Alright, Trundle Bundle, or Harrowing Trundle. This deck is based around the fact that Trundle's ability to create an Ice Pillar in hand is not a play effect, but is simply a summon effect. This means in addition to when we play him, we also get extra Ice Pillars generated when we put him into play with things like Harrowing. We bring him back with things like Rekindler or Chronicler of Rune. Trundle's leveled mode gives us a pseudo combo kill in this deck. So his leveled mode has Overwhelm, so he deals excess damage to their Nexus past their blockers. And on attack, he gets +1 attack permanently for each 8+ cost card that's in your hand or in play. So the basic idea of this deck is we want to get Trundles into play, and then we want them to die to things like Chronicler, or just in combat, we bring them back with things like Rekindler. And then our other namesake card, the Harrowing here, revives our 6 strongest allies that have died this game with Ephemeral. So if you've had 3, 4, or 5 Harrowings happen, you bring a bunch of Trundles into play. All of those Trundles create Ice Pillars in your hand, and then they all attack for like 9, 10, 11 damage each, which is usually lethal with their Overwhelm even through blockers. The rest of this deck is a pretty typical Shadow Isles Freljord control deck. One thing to note that differentiates this from like the Feel the Rush control decks right now is that as opposed to playing sweepers like Warping Whale and Avalanche, our deck's anti-aggro plan is playing out lots of units, so that way we can have lots of things that play to the board to help us level Thresh as we go. So Thresh is another way we can get multiple Trundles into play when he levels up. I'm going to ask about deck codes. You can always find the deck code by typing !deck in chat if you're on Twitch. It'll also be linked in the video description on the YouTube channel if you're watching this in the future. It'll also be available on the overlay on Twitch momentarily when we pop into a match with it. Wanted to say I've been enjoying your commentary. You've been playing. You've discussed cool topics. Informative first time here. We'll have to stop by more often. Thanks for joining us, gaming. Hope you're staying safe out there in the world. So always try to stay pretty organized here. You can also see, talking about decks that we play from viewer submissions, there is a deck queue on my website, so you can always see which decks are going to be coming up in the future. Opponent playing Shen Fiora. So Shen Fiora tends to be an aggressive deck as opposed to a primarily all-in Fiora deck. I actually think this hand's pretty good here. Ruination's a little bit slow to start, but Aristocrat and Vilefish hopefully buy us time to get there for this to be relevant in this game. While this costs 9 mana, remember, since it's a spell, we can bank up to 3 mana for it, so we only need to survive till turn 6 to be able to play this.
I must get out of here.
Yeah, I finally took 30 seconds to create a second scene where my face is bigger. Where my face is bigger during the deck techs. And also, in addition to making my face larger, it also moves my couple of overlay elements, the chat and my second ad banner, to the other side of the screen so they don't cover any of the deck lists while I'm scrolling up and down. No.
Strength in grace, beauty in the blade.
I'm just gonna bank spell mana here. So, Fiora has Challenger, so she can force things to block her. And then she's levels when she's killed 2 enemy units. I'm gonna go ahead and Glimpse here in response, so she doesn't get to kill this. We'll see if they have a single combat here they want to spend, denying me my card draw. They do not. Another Glimpse is a stellar pickup. So, we have some Harrowings, but at this point, it's a little bit awkward that we don't have any Trundles yet. So, like, Trundle's easily our best draw next turn. Want to get Trundles dying so that way we can get Harrowing going. My opponent didn't deploy anything else to the board, which is interesting. I'm gonna Chronicler here. If my opponent doesn't go wide, I don't really want to Ruinate. So, like, while ideally I'd be doing this to a Trundle, we don't have one in sight at the moment. So I think this is fine. You can also go ahead and attack and pressure them a little bit with this, encouraging them to develop their board more. Like, I don't mind if my things die, so like me developing my board more to make it so my opponent needs to expand more before they can attack is ideal. So like here's turn 6 and I have the spell mana save. Hopefully my opponent deploys more. They do not. Curse you, opponent, playing good Runeterra. I think we put this here, and then we go ahead and glimpse our spider friends here again. Thresh is a little bit late to the party, but still not a terrible pickup here. I think we start by just deploying him. I guess if I do this now, I have an extra mana next turn. We have like a threat plus a rally. I could get into trouble with that play. No rally. It's good for us. Do I just Ruinate now? The problem with Ruinating now is my opponent will get to redeploy and then have decent open attacks. Don't play Thresh out. I've got triple Rekindler in my hand, so like if they kill Thresh, it's like not that big of a deal because I can bring him back. The question is, when I attack, do I want to play around a riposte out of them? Probably. I think I'm going to go ahead and just continue to go wide here. Me going wide kind of makes them, kind of telegraphs less that I have a Ruination. And like, with these Harrowings and Rekindlers, like, the Ruination's not a big deal if it kills a bunch of my stuff.
On guard.
Yeah, and this feels like a let this happen, untap, or Ruinate, untap play stuff.
An end to your cruelty.
I'm gonna glimpse to start here and see what they do. See if I can get them to deploy more to the board. They could have a deny. That's true.
We swim within the flows of magic.
Then found home.
Undo Demacia nerfs? I don't know. War Chefs could probably have a second point of power back. I think removing the second point of power from the scout unit was good though. Why did we riposte proactively? Do we have rally? Single combat? Sure, so we'll do this in response. And then, unfortunately, I think it's pretty likely my opponent opens on attacks here. If they don't open on attacks, we get to summon another Thresh.
You're in over your head. Form will the waters take?
So I'm gonna have to start and see what they do.
Return to us.
A gift from the river folk.
Thresh is like the plague that won't stay away, chat. He is determined. He is determined to be here. That's a good one. Judgment. Judgment's scary, yeah.
What form will the waters take?
I think its Field Rush matchup is okay. You have Ruination to keep up with them a little bit, and then Harrowing basically combo kills them. Dead Thresh count, a lot. It's a shame these Threshes aren't Trundles, because like if these Threshes were Trundles, we would like be able to Harrowing and kill them.
I've got your back.
Nothing escapes my watch.
Protect and strike. My steel is yours.
Ready the torches.
Yeah, similar, Oi. Very, very, very similar energy.
We each died, then found home.
That's a good emote. I haven't seen that one before.
These are troll
I think I just end the round, right?
My shield is yours.
It's always cold in the throne.
We're so deep, yep.
To the king.
It's been a weird game. Goodbye, friends. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Excellent. Excellent first game. Loved it. Yes, you can put the Harrowing on the stack and then mouse over the eye to see what you're going to get before you click OK. You can Always make an informed Harrowing play if you're not sure exactly how it's going to work out. And sometimes it can be kind of convoluted between long games and like rekindlers coming back. Any tips to help a new player? If you've not played all of the challenge levels, I'd recommend touching on all of them. I know especially people that have other card game experience tend to skip over some of them, but they really do a good job of highlighting everything about the game. Good free-to-play tips, or even if you're not free-to-play, just good maximizing collection progression tips, is get every region track to 8 to start. I just YOLO Harrowing and draft. Yep. To be fair, it's usually lethal. Opponent is playing Girl Scouts here. I think we full mulligan here, looking for our cheap cards. I think Ruination's a little bit too slow to keep in the opener. Santa's not stellar. Really hoping to draw 1 and 2 mana things in our first couple of draws here. Perfect. Exactly the droid we're looking for. Why is it 8 specifically? Because it gets progress. 8 is the first champion capsule in each region, and it gets progressively harder to level your regions the higher levels they get. So if you want the most free champion cards to the least amount of games played ratio, you get each of them to 8. I agree, Springsberg. I think there should definitely be an option to see. There should definitely be an option to see what burst spells are going to do with the eye. I think that would be a worthwhile feature for them to add to the game. Kind of hard to code. Never assume you know how easy or hard to code something is without seeing a code base. But I'm basically just asking them to make burst spells half work like the rest of these. And maybe it's difficult, but I think assuming that it is probably a little much. It might not be. Well,
No prey, no pay.
rough.
Love ya.
It's really, really good, Casey. As someone who's also played Magic for multiple decades, big agree that this game does a lot right.
Guns blazing.
So I think we do this here, and then we go ahead and we'll drop Thresh next turn and start challenging down their board.
What delightful agony we shall inflict.
Yeah, having a void/graveyard to poke at instead of having to scroll back through here would be nice at some point. I agree with that. League of Legends stream when? Probably never. The variety stuff I do in the evenings is largely focused on single-player story-driven stuff, or if there's turn-based strategy stuff like card games. My years of playing competitive games like that are definitely behind me.
King of Trolls coming through.
My strength is yours.
I played Into the Breach. I think so. That's the robot game, right? Where you it's a turn-based mech unit placement thing.
No regrets.
Time travel mech. Yeah. There's we played through a full session of that. We are super dead. level misfortune on 6 is pretty good, chat. Pretty good. I don't think it mattered. If they had a big play like this, we were dead. Even if we killed her. The out here is do this, and then hope we can vengeance whatever they try and open attacks with next turn. But we're very likely dead here.
Slow down, will you?
Slow and steady. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Do 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 do. For folks who are my regulars, by the way, you'll probably note that I'm live a little bit later than I have been the last few weeks. I've shifted my schedule slightly, so I'm starting and ending at least an hour later than I previously was. So like 10 a.m. to about 1 p.m. Central Cornfield time is when I'll be live. It's currently 10 to 1. Planning to go a little bit later than that today. Got a good audience in here. Appreciate everybody that's hanging out. What's the best region? We have an objectively best region. Targan's my personally favorite region. Yeah, we did, Alfanda. We 3-2'd it. I don't think I'm gonna play Singleton on stream anymore. Pretty off the format. I just don't really enjoy it as a competitive format. Noxious is probably the best aggressive region. Either Spider Burn or the discard aggro decks are both good. Bilgewater Pirate aggro also great. I'm gonna do this now, so that way if they want to attack next turn, they have to trade for my Spider. I have a variety of decks that I think are reasonable and competitive that you can find up on my website. Click Runeterra decks from the navigation, and they're sorted by archetype, control, mid-range, and aggro. I did not have any Sacreds left over, Texas Horror. I ended up pulling my Sacreds in one of the summoning events previous. Okay, so I think I just play this as a blocker. What's been my personal favorite deck to play? Probably the Ash Ketchum deck is one I've played the most of that I really enjoy. Gotta Ketchum all, chat.
Let's take this outside.
We'll bank some mana and have Vengeance up next turn. Also deploy Thresh. First time playing against Lee Sin today. First time playing against Lee Sin in a while. It's not been super popular since they added one to his cost. This matchup's hard, or it was hard when he cost 4. I haven't really played it as much since they nerfed him a little bit. So I'm not quite sure. I imagine it's still bad for us, if I had to venture a guess. Thanks, Tiago. I agree. And like I've said, I think Runeterra basically has only one direction it can go. You have a Pale Cascade here. Okay, I have a Vile Feast. And we want a Vile Feast now inside of combat, so my opponent doesn't have a chance to gem this to heal it. It is worth noting that while the Riot partnership is awesome, it is mostly just in-game stuff, or is completely just in-game stuff and stuff to give away. So there isn't a monetary component with that for full transparency, so the sub count above my head is still the most important metric to focusing on Runeterra for my primary content avenue. As long as that stays above 1500, I'm planning to keep Runeterra as the primary game that I stream.
We each hold a world within.
Them burning a Zed there because they got the gem in their hand was quite good for us. I think we're just doing this turn. Any reason to not run Grinding Stones? I just don't have a very good cut for it. We're also, like, not an all-in ramp deck. Like, we're not... Our top end only costs 9. It doesn't cost 12. We have a lot of cheap units that we play to the board early, so it's not like we're struggling for turn 2 and turn 3 plays like the typical Fuel the Rush ranked deck is. Ranked resets when the next card drop releases, I believe. Is that true, or is it December 4th? I actually don't know. I don't really pay super close attention to ranked. So, I think we're close to Diamond here on stream, but most of the decks I play on stream, for reference, are viewer submissions, so I don't pay super close attention to that aspect of it. This hasn't seen anything die yet, right? No. I kind of wanna just Chronicler here, and then like Rekindler back out a second Thresh next turn.
Force is meaningless without skill.
A pleasure to see you, Master.
There are a bunch of people that were brought into the League Partner Program. I will leave it up to all of them to announce their stuff individually, as opposed to taking away their potential for an announcement. I don't want to steal anybody else's thunder.
Strike firmly. Prepare yourself.
Not all mean well.
The loose expectation for being part of the Riot Partner Program is that approximately 30% of my content be some type of Riot IP or game. So Valorant, Teamfight Tactics, Runeterra, League of Legends, etc. Which, when I saw that stat, I actually went back and looked at what my streaming had been, and since I started playing Runeterra in June, I've done 30+% Runeterra content for like the last 6 months now. The MPL. So, Riot's partner program is not comparable to the MPL. The MPL are people who are paid by Wizards of the Coast to play Magic competitively. Riot's League Partner Program is more comparable to the Wizards Creator Program, which Riot's LPP League Partner Program is much more reasonably structured than Wizards Program, because Wizards Program requires you to do stupid stuff like tweet random spam on your Twitter account. It also provides way more support to the creators. Like, for example, I'm never going to have to buy a wild card or a card on Runeterra ever again, so long as I'm making 30+% content. There was no clause in the contract that I signed about fining me if I give my honest opinion about things. No, Lambton.
As the dragon wills.
Well then.
Breathe in, breathe out.
The real question here is there a deny in their hand as well?
Our enemies cannot hide. I will not hold back. My lands need me. Center your spirit.
You're not wrong, Signal. Go fish? Do you have a deny? Or are we saying go fish? Tank, tank, tank. Deny. It worked, chat. God bless us, everyone. They really should have challenged this into here, huh?
Extend your senses.
The arena economy is perfectly sane. It's designed in a manner to generate large amounts of profit, and it does exactly that.
What is gained when we return malevolence?
I don't know what I want to do here. So this is 2 away. This is 2 away from leveling. I think I'm chroniclering. To start. The skill and luck in Runeterra are the same as it is in Magic. Runeterra is a game that contains variance by design, just like every card game contains variance by design. That being said, Runeterra has far fewer non-games than Magic does, where one player just does nothing and then dies. There's the big appeal to it as a game, in my opinion.
I'll see this through.
I think we just attack with all of these, right? Probably do this and hook this one as well. I agree with your assessment, or you?
Your lesson begins.
I think Runeterra puts variance in better places. Expectations for the balance patch. I'm expecting Trundle to get nerfed and a couple of the less played champions to get buffed.
Breathe in, breathe out.
They just drew 2 spells. That probably doesn't bode well for our Ruination.
I will not hold back.
Do they have another way to give this overwhelm? They've played 3 Zenith Blades this game. So that's a real concern.
I'll
So
see this through.
I don't think it's not a concern specifically, I guess I should say. There's something pirates needs to be turned down a little. Probably not. I think little things like that, like turning misfortune down a little bit, that could be fine. Alright, well, they don't have a deny and they're digging for one.
Conflict
Dig,
is
dig.
all in the mind.
Okay, and then hopefully this is lethal next turn.
What is gained when we return malevolence?
I'm gonna get a couple of threshes back here, chat. I mean, to be fair, these threshes are getting a bundle of trundles.
Nice to meet you. Ah!
The eye does not work with thresh, unfortunately. That is accurate.
Nice to meet you. Ah!
That's true. Thresh technically has a random component. Unfortunately, we haven't drawn a Trundle in the top, like, third of our deck this game, so he's not leveled yet, so he doesn't get to just kill them by overwhelming.
With my spirit, not my fists.
Our enemies would be foolish to underestimate you.
I am the blade.
Yeah, they've played all three Zenith Blades, press a pick. So I'm hoping we're not dead. Like, usually they don't have another overwhelm source, right?
Conflict is all in the
Because
mind.
without giving him overwhelm, they can't get him double strike, basically.
Breathe in, breathe out.
This deck's so good. And by good, I mean great. It's a lot of fun. It's one of the many Runeterra decks you can find up on my website if you haven't seen this one before. Be sure to check that out. The decks that I keep on my website, as opposed to something like Mobilytics, aren't necessarily stock tier 1 decks that are data-driven. They're decks that I've played on stream in the past that I think are both fun and competitive. Decks that I really enjoy playing. Yes, I also did a graphical overhaul to the next page on my website, and that was really good. Catalyst seems out of place. Catalyst is good because it lets you play Trundle and Thresh on turn 4. Is the TLDR.
Troll out.
The other thing, or is because we have 6 1-drops, with that card, you can still, what's the word I'm searching for? You can still,
It's always cold in the Freljord.
my mouth isn't working. You can play a 1-drop on 1 and still ramp on 3 with Catalyst.
Sugar in your boots.
What is gained when we return malevolence?
Oh, that one's not vulnerable, right? Think we're supposed to do this to play around Hush. I want to take this off the board. Of course, there's also a real chance that, like, if they have Pale Cascade, this kills us next turn.
The dragon binds us.
Yeah, Palm would also not be good for us. It's a card they play. And they drew a bunch of spells, right? So, like, Palm's a real card they could have here.
I will not hold back.
Into darkness.
That's a Harrowing, not a Ruination. Vengeance. Vengeance. That's actually a good draw if they don't have double burst spell. Damn it.
Conflict is all in the mind.
That was really
I
close.
will not hold back. Prepare yourself.
Really close. I feel like I must have fucked that game up somewhere. Our bench, my bench management prevented me from being able to Harrowing there to win the game on the turn before. We were also had an awkward game, so we just didn't find Trundle in the top third of our deck, which sucked, and we had to pull them out with Thresh. But I think if I would have managed my bench a little bit differently at the end there, we could have maybe pulled that out. Perhaps deploying the 2 ice pillars in the previous turn was wrong, and I should have left one open. I'm mulligan these two. I'm going to keep my 1-2 against their control deck. Mulligan looking for Trundle here. Perfect. Should have pulled the Dragon Link to the right side. Why? Don't just tell me you think. Tell me why you think that way. Why is that the correct play? How would that have changed the outcome of what we did there?
What's that noise? I must get out of here.
Would that have been lethal? Would that have beaten the Hush? It wouldn't have, right? It wouldn't have mattered.
Nothing escapes my watch. Safeguard our homes.
Would have given us three more damage, would it? Now I'm gonna have to go back and check the tape. We hook that and pull Lee Sin and the other one over. They block a Trundle and Hush it. Yeah, I don't know.
You can see the Debastian border from here.
But there's also a real chance they had other spells in their hand that they didn't show us. But if that was lethal, perhaps it's right to go for lethal there. I also think if we're just, like, taking better plays, though, I'm probably supposed to just not play the second Ice Pillar out to begin with. I think once I made the mistake, that might have been right to try and play around to kill them if they didn't have Palm. Well, I had an extra pillar. I had an extra pillar which I could have pulled Zed with. No, Zed wouldn't have blocked overall damage because he was vulnerable from the 2 ice pillars. Yeah, I don't know. Feel free to move on from the line, but I'm willing to say that that might have been lethal, but I don't know offhand. I'll have to go back and look at it. We'll have the YouTube comments sorted out later. Yep.
Who would face me?
Well, they didn't have glass half full. Opponent did not have a field rush this turn. Just get Thresh leveling here. We'll block here, and then we have Vengeance to finish him. Yeah, there's a chance that they have a concussive palm or something and it doesn't matter anyways.
I'm not done!
I don't know, calling removal weak in this game when the objectively best deck in the format plays a bunch of sweepers and removal seems loose. This deck the current opponent's playing is definitely considered one of the better decks in the game. It plays a ton of pieces of spot removal and sweepers. Good. That was a good top deck.
King of Trolls coming through.
So they had 12 mana and didn't play that last turn. Yeah, no respect for Ruination. Feels bad. We just had it here, the game ends on the spot. So you have so many good leftovers.
Do not stand in my way!
Dead to atrocity.
Let rage fill your soul!
Thanks for the 14 months, Jay Boone. Welcome back. Had some rough breaks today. I mean, if they had Atrocity, they would have played it there and killed us already, right? They would have Atrocity the one I was Vengeancing. So if they play Atrocity here, they drew it. I don't have any outs to not die to that, right? I only have two. I think I'm only on 2 Vengeance. Play both my Vengeance. Talking through the possibilities. Yeah, I'm not playing any Flash Freezes. Yeah, Passage Unearned. And I mentioned this when they spoiled it. Feels like such a weird card for them to print into Runeterra in a game without sideboards. It definitely screams sideboard card. No, I don't think so. Just a random visitor. That's why I didn't do that. I think preventing them from leveling their Trundle is ideal. Yeah, I agree, press a pick. For a best, it needed to be modal or to draw a card. Yeah, it should have been modal is probably the answer, as opposed to making it cantrip. think the answer is it should have been modal. That seems fine. I'm supposed to mulligan looking for Trundle. Modal means a card does multiple things. So it does has more than one option, so that way if it has a narrow mode, like for example what it does now, it also does something else when its narrow mode isn't useful. Yeah, choose one. Great way to put it. So opponent playing a different variation of Field Rush. I assume this build is designed to try and win the mirror by playing Ionia cards. By playing Deny.
This one's on the house.
I'm gonna pass for now.
What delightful agony we shall inflict.
That's fine.
How about another round?
You cannot win.
So on AK, yeah, running a little bit normal later than I normally play into today. Afternoon. I think the opponent's archetype, we played against the opponent's archetype a few times. Like I said, it's very similar to the previous opponent's deck that we played against. It's just playing cards that are good in the mirror instead of cards that respect aggro. It's a very metagame choice.
Witness my masterpiece.
Yeah, maybe I'm supposed to ramp there. Let's open attacks here in case they have a sweeper or a field rush. Yeah, I think that's reasonable first pick. What's it called? The Palm card's really good too that they played, right? The Concussive Palm? No, Avalanche, the card.
Happen again.
It could be right to kill my own thing there and guarantee the thresh level.
Follow my blade.
We're gonna get denied here, aren't we? Although I guess if I get a deny on this, it's not a deny on my Harrowing later, so like...
Yes. It's hot and much worse. I don't forget. The trolls are going to war.
And if I do this to kill the spider, I'll get my Trundle out of my deck, right? Because I'll have room at the end of combat.
Get ready for a beatdown.
Worth hooking the pillar at the 1/1. Yeah, I guess that's free. Or hooking it with the 3/3. Just put some damage on it. And that, so Precipic, you said this matchup's probably bad for us. That game is a good example of why I think it's probably not too terrible. Like, this deck isn't all in on Harrowing, right? Like, the Thresh plan is real because of all of our little piddly boopers. And you, like, get multiple Trundles going just through Thresh a lot of the time. And Rekindler as well. The fact that Thresh and Rekindler don't care about Deny is a big deal. And they don't have Ruination because they're in Iona, so they can't really reset the board. I guess that they have Mina. Some people were saying they're playing the Recall 3 things card. Afternoon, D20 Bandit. Afternoon to everybody hanging out today, by the way. Welcome to the channel if you're a new viewer. My name's Jeff Hoagland. I stream full-time here on Twitch. We're hanging out, playing some Runeterra this afternoon. I'm here at least 5 days a week doing Runeterra stuff, Monday through Friday. Draven Jinx. Yeah, these all sound great. I'm gonna mulligan the Chronicler because I'm expecting my cheap units to die to start. Double bodies into a healer sounds great. Exceed, good afternoon. What's that noise?
No.
I think Feel the Rush is a very reasonable design, and that any complaints about the Feel the Rush decks should be directed at the cards supporting Feel the Rush, not Feel the Rush itself.
Help the poor.
Ready the torches.
It's a 12 mana finisher, exactly. Games need to end. It is important that there be powerful cards to shut the door at the end of a game. That is a good thing for Runeterra to have overall. Still a nice healthy 20 here. We'll get to play Sentry plus Bank Spellman an extra and then play Thresh the following turn.
I must get out of here.
So, Aughts, hey, actually, as someone who agrees with you and loves mid-range decks, I actually really love Feel the Rush as a mid-range player in this game, because Feel the Rush is so much easier to beat than War Mother's Call. Like, my bad mid-range decks got much better with that change.
This'll take the chill off.
There's nowhere to hide.
Is burning their mana worth not killing an elusive here? I think it might be. Yeah, they could easily have something else to deploy.
Let's talk about your death.
They're out there. I'll spot them.
I'll spot him. We just box Jinx, right? What are the odds they can empty their hand here? Feels low. Nah, you could just donate for it, Cody. That one's great. Do I need to do it? Like, if they rummage, I'm in a lot of trouble. Maybe I just catalyst. I can catalyst into Chronicler Glimpse level Thresh, hook her next turn.
Inevitability.
You want me to pass? No, I need to play a card here. Pretty sure we want a catalyst.
No exposed! We're doing it!
Rewarded. Yeah, the downside of getting blown out there is just too huge.
Now it's a party!
Witness my masterpiece.
It's Draven time.
Hey, thanks for the tip, Cody. I appreciate it. And thanks for submitting a sweet deck. Looking forward to playing that one again.
Where is it?
Okay, so I'm at a virtual 4. Because we're going to cook and kill this. And then this puts me to 8, and then these put me to 4.
Yes, you. Eyes to meet you. Ah!
Don't play a second Jinx. 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 Trickle down Chillanomics. Yeah, if they don't open, that was a great draw. Probably one of the best draws in our deck. And if they don't open on attacks, we get to Icequake. If they do open on attacks, we get to get Life Down.
Just you and me, Fishbones. And them.
I still just do this, right?
You got a problem?
Vision me, daddy. Vision me, mama?
But I'm king. We burn, then kindle anew. What's the worst that could happen?
Immerse yourself in the
Jinx seems like the type to be called daddy.
Come to fight.
That 6-drop used to go to the face. God bless us, everyone. Glad they fixed that.
These are troll lands.
Are they about to get excited by Trundle? That would be so good for us.
That egg.
Did it move?
I have my orders.
They're playing around Atrocity. Okay, that makes sense.
First one's free.
I'm gonna make a U-sickle. It's good to be the king.
Yep, gonna be very close game here.
Behind ya.
Join the conflagration. You got a problem?
Yeah, Catalyst might keep us alive.
Damn it.
Return to us.
Are you kidding me? It's just every time we have needed a break today, we have just not caught it. It's been brutal. Just like hit after hit after hit. Ooh. So, for reference, we could gain 3, but these each deal 1. We do just die. Because of his... They needed her or a decimate, right? That's how it goes. Alright, I usually like to end on a high note, but we ran late today playing another deck. I'm happy with this deck. I don't know. Like I said, we won about as much as we lost there, and even at the end of the day, the record's mostly irrelevant. I think this deck's got reasonable matchups against a lot of things. Like I said, I think like that last aggro matchup, for example, was very close down to the wire at the end. If things just break a little bit different for us, we easily get it across the finish line. I think it's a good mix. I think this deck on average lines up well into the Freljord Shadow Isles control deck that's very popular right now with Feel the Rush, because you have things like Ruination and Vengeance, as well as a combo kill of your own with Harrowing. Thresh could really help you control the board, and your cheap units apply pressure nicely, which is great. So, at any rate, I'll be back tomorrow morning with some more Runeterra. I take Monday nights off for my variety stuff, so I'll be back about 10 a.m. Central Time tomorrow with Runeterra, doing 2 more constructed decks. Remember, if you enjoyed the channel, to give it a follow. Also, be sure to check out my YouTube. There's tons of great highlight videos up there every single day. I post a highlight usually, so thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch all y'all tomorrow. Everybody stay safe out there.